Dinosaurs! You know them and you love them, unless you were alive at the same time as them, in which case they'd probably terrify you. But who doesn't love a good dinosaur? LEGO clearly does. With over 100 sets featuring dinosaurs across 4 distinct themes, from iconic franchises like Jurassic Park, all the way to whatever this thing is. So with the 7th Jurassic World movie hitting cinemas across the globe, you already know what I'm gonna do. Take every single dinosaur theme and build each of them a custom battle mech. So join me on this trip down memory lane 65 million years in the making, or more like 24 if you're being specific. Starting with the newest theme and then working backwards, we have the only licensed theme of the bunch that started in 2015 and is still going today. That being Jurassic Park. Or is it World? Look, they count them as one under LEGO's website, so that's good enough for me. And while the kids of today may associate this theme with the Jurassic World movies, for me, you can't beat the original, so we're basing the mech off that. And who better to pilot it than the architect of the park himself, John Hammond.
Welcome to Jurassic Park.
Starting with the feet, of course, I built these big chunky dinosaur feet, so when it moved around the park it would just leave normal dinosaur footprints. You may be wondering why I didn't build the whole thing in the shape of a dinosaur. Well, that's because LEGO already did that. Yes, in 2019, LEGO released a giant mechanical T-Rex set which is used to face off against another dinosaur. I don't know about you, but I don't remember this happening in any of the movies. It's completely wild and I kind of love it, and you'll see a lot of these parts used in my own mech. Even if LEGO hadn't made that set, this was always the colour scheme I was going to go with. Those bizarrely coloured jeeps are just so iconic to Jurassic Park, and I definitely wanted to recreate that in this mech, combining 3 very clashing colours of yellow, dark red and lime green. You can see a couple of those Nexo-Nite stickered shields from that other Dino mech set, and that have kind of turned the midriff of the mech into the car's front bumper. It wasn't intentional when I was designing this, but this definitely ended up just looking like a transformer for one of those jeeps. The wheels on the side of the legs definitely don't help that. Those wheels have printed hubcaps, which is from one of the actual sets for the actual Jurassic Park jeeps instead of a random mech. And from there we add on the cockpit where John Hammond sits. You'll notice he's sitting on a black 2x2 plate just so he gets a bit higher up there. And also around the back I'm using a front bonnet piece from that car, just because it's the only place that it would fit. In fact, if you see any stickered or printed pieces in this mech, just assume it's from one of these 2 sets, you'll almost definitely be right. That's except from the logo that's on the front of the mech, which comes from a random 4+ set. I of course also added on the arms, which get a lot more stickered pieces, including these big 2x6 tiles which say Jurassic Park on them, just in case you weren't 100% sure what this was based on. There were just a few details left to make sure I included, such as John Hammond's iconic amber cane, which I appropriately turned into a giant fighting staff. You can also see I included the last details of the car, such as the 3 lights behind his head and the front windshield. No expense spared. But there you go, the first mech of the video's done. I think for a Jurassic Park mech this is probably the safest option to go, but believe me, the next couple are anything but safe. But before we do move on to the next mech, if you enjoy seeing my wild custom creations, be sure to subscribe so you never miss a video. Moving back 3 years, our next dino theme is conveniently called Dino! This theme is so nostalgic to me. I specifically remember getting this pterodactyl watchtower set as a kid. This was the theme that really revolutionized LEGO dinosaurs, introducing the molds that are still used up till today, so naturally I had to use one of them as the pilot of the mech. And as fun as a T-Rex mech would be, it would completely outscale every other mech in the collection, so a Velociraptor will have to do. Starting with the feet, I didn't want to just build giant dinosaur feet twice in a row, so I instead went for this shield piece, which I think initially came from Hero Factory or Bionicle or something like that. The colour scheme from this mech is mainly going to be yellow with an accent colour of dark red, because that's what the colour scheme was for basically all of the dino sets. I know it was technically the theme for the good guys, but what am I going to base a dino one on? A bush? So I'm just kind of nicking their style. Adding on a bit more leg details, I really love these printed curved pieces that they made for this theme that I'm using in the upper thigh area. Looking at them now, they're actually very reminiscent of those Jurassic Park Jeeps I was just talking about. LEGO definitely copied Jurassic Park's homework, but tried not to make it look too obvious. Anyway, for the main core of the mech, I wanted to give the dinosaur a big place to stand on because obviously it's not sitting anywhere. Also, so for when I add on these side panels, it will still fit. They're made up of using some more stickered pieces from the sets, and around the back you can see I'm kind of creating this roll cage, using some fun Chima pieces, and it gets the dinosaur in there nice and tight. Of course I threw in some arms as well. I contemplated giving him really short ones, but he's got short enough arms already. I can't do the same for the mech. And also mainly because it makes the mech look cooler. Speaking of cool, I added on a bunch of spikes because we all know spikes are cool and they also appeared in the original sets, as well as some more back armor and stickered and printed pieces on the arms. I also put some life rings on the very end of the arms so I could add on the hands and cover up the gap. The hands are actually built out of battle droid bodies with more of those spikes on, of course. There's some more dark red details such as these big shoulder pads, which I think adds a nice look, and these giant turbines on top. They can be engines, or they can be guns, or they can be whatever you want. In my mind, they're air conditioners to keep the dino cool when he's in battle. But with all that together, that's my dino mech complete. I think this is so cool. I love the kind of different shape it is to most of my other mechs. Its presence is just really awesome. But it's time to jump back in the time machine to the next mech in the video. We tick back 7 more years to 2005 when our next dinosaur theme was released. Or should I say themes? That being Dino Attack in North America or Dino 2010 across Europe. Now at first glance these sets look the same, a team of dino trackers taking on some dinosaurs. Dinosaurs with light up eyes, almost like they've got
frickin' laser beams attached to their heads.
The difference is their method of taking them down. In Dino 2010, they capture the dinosaurs using large nets and cages. Whereas in Dino Attack, every set just has the biggest guns you've ever seen with giant cannons and lasers to pulverize any dinosaur that dares face them. But which of them am I going to base a mech on? Because it's pointless doing one for each. Well, with a random minifigure from the theme to pilot the mech, let's find out. The frame for this guy is going to be super basic, so I'm not going to bore you with going into every single tiny detail. The color scheme is a majority of tan with an accent color of dark red. Yes, that makes it 3 dark red accented mechs in a row, but I can't help it. Dinosaurs just love dark red apparently. I also added the top half of the body, including the arms, and a nice stickered piece on the chest plate. Even though if you look super closely, it doesn't fully match the tile, it was just as close as I could get. There's some more pieces added onto the arms as well as the back. You can see I'm also accenting with a little bit of lime green, which may hint to which of the themes I'm going with. I also added on a load more dark red, such as these rain pieces going over the top of them, and these bar pieces that you see in a lot of train sets, that both come from this actual Dino Attack set. Oh, did I give it away? If I didn't, then maybe these giant shoulder-mounted cannons might do the trick. Yeah, come on guys, it was only ever gonna go one way. They look cool, but I can't help but think this needs some more firepower just to really get my point across for how overpowered this theme was. Yeah, that'll do the trick. This absolutely ridiculous Gatling gun that I've given it, I mean it's just insane. The thing has to lean on top of the gun so it doesn't topple over. But I'm kind of just in love with how ridiculous it is. There ain't no dinosaur that's standing up to this guy, even if it's using a mech like the last one. And that's this theme ticked off as well. Let's go back a few more years to our final mech of the video. Before I get into the final mech of the video, you may be wondering why some dinos are missing, and I'm mainly talking about the original LEGO T-Rex, which came from the Dino Island wave of adventurers. Well, that's because I'm considering all of adventurers as only one theme, and there's only one handsome mustache twirling man I'm making for when we get to that video. And don't get me started on these monstrosities. Instead, we go back to 2001 with easily our strangest mech yet. That being LEGO Dinosaurs. Real creative with those names, guys. Now, if this promotional video doesn't make it obvious, this was a very strange theme for LEGO. They released in almost these Bionicle-like boxes, where each set could make up to 4 different dinosaurs if you mixed and matched the pieces correctly. So for this mech, I'm gonna do the exact same thing, mish-mash a bunch of dinosaur parts together and come up with something wild. But what on earth am I gonna use to pilot the mech? Well, luckily this theme did have a solution. LEGO did release a couple very small box sets that only retailed for $3 back in 2001, so they'd basically be polybags today. I picked this one to recreate as small as I could so he could fit in the mech, as well as removing the tail, and also switched him to sand green, because sand blue is what I'm going to be using for the rest of the mech. No surprise here, I'm using none of my standard mech pieces because they just wouldn't fit with the vibe of this theme. Because this was made in 2001, light bluish grey didn't exist yet, so I'm trying to stick with old grey as much as I can. You can see I've got some nice moulded feet as well as some printed legs. The tail on the back is actually going to be used to support, because this is going to end up being quite tall and not have much support on the bottom, so it's actually going to help quite a lot. A bit like the last mech's gun. I bulk up the body, especially around the back where the neck's about to be added, as well as carving a space in the middle where our pilot can go, who looks absolutely ridiculous in there and I kind of love it. I've also put a load of brackets on the front because I'm going to be adding a lot of stuff there, and some dishes around the sides where the arms are going to pop out. I also thought it would be a funny idea to give this mech some levers for some reason, and they look so much fun in his hands. I think it's just really cute. You can also see from the arms I'm using sausages, because dinosaurs are iconic for their short arms and there was no better piece. And with just a few more touches, the mech was done. It kind of became a hybrid of 3 dinosaurs in the end. The long neck and tail kind of gave it a Brachiosaurus vibe. The fins on the back reference the Spinosaurus, only there's 2 of them. And the short arms and headpiece are obviously an ode to the Grand T-Rex. Funnily enough, that tongue inside the T-Rex head is actually a crocodile head in red. Try saying that 10 times fast. Overall, I think this is a great representation of what I'm trying to do with this series. Prove that any LEGO theme, if you try hard enough, can be turned into a mech, no matter how ridiculous it is at first. It will still end up ridiculous, 100%, but man, it sure is fun. And there we go, there's all 4 of my dinosaur LEGO mechs. Let me know which one's your favourite in the comments below. I think for me it has to be the Dino 2012 one, it's just so cool. But I really like that original 2001 Dinosaurs one as well. And while you're down there, give me some suggestions for other mechs to build. As for the next video, there may or may not have been a hint somewhere in this video to what it might be, so subscribe so you don't miss that. And until next time, have a roarsome day. Oh my god.